PeterGShow, PeterGShow. Divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad. PeterGShow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got volumes going on. There we go. Sorry. It's that sound again. Lots of stuff going on. I'm like a friggin' octopus. Yeah, it's a best kept secret. How the hell is everybody doing? Sunday night. Sunday night. Hell of a day. Beautiful day. Good day. I'm glad and thankful for every day. Believe me when I tell you that. Lots to talk about tonight. Lots to talk about. I think the reason why I like doing the show weekly is because during the course of a week, it allows me to build up lots to talk about. When you do a daily show, that really, you have to have people to bring a bunch of stuff to the table. There's not enough of me to go around. But I try. Anyway, how the hell is everybody? I hope you're all doing well, considering. Again, even if you think you got problems, believe me, there's somebody that can beat you, to a sadder story. So that's why I don't take anything for granted. That's for sure. Last week we had Miss Vera Majan, mediator. She has a book, Domestic crime, domestic violence, the unreported crime. Sorry, I usually have that in front of me, and I just said, nah, I got this. Anyway, great show last week. We talked to Vera about family mediation, domestic crime, family abuse, domestic abuse. There it is. Domestic abuse. A lot of it goes around and it's not widely talked about. That's like the hush-hush secret stuff. You don't talk about it. But it exists, people. It's definitely there. And, you have to bring what don't we have to bring awareness to? That was last week. Anyway, Vera's easily findable. You can find her on LinkedIn's, YouTube's, you name it, Facebook. We're going to have her back one day. Next week's going to be Greek Easter, believe it or not. Orthodox Easter. So not just Greek. So I'm going to talk about that because even though it was American Easter / Catholic American Easter a few weeks ago, the Greeks, we'll talk about that. It's complicated, but I'm gonna tell you a little family Greek Easter story or two about how I'd get my ass kicked on Easter Sunday, so to speak, by my father, and I'll tell you why next week. But I want to also try to bring, I don't know if anybody ever saw or sees, there's some trailers and pieces out there with Edward, my man on the street. I've been trying to get him back on the show. He's younger. He's out of control. I wanted to really utilize him, but it's all about timing, money, to keep somebody focused, you have to have a way to keep them around, and so I lost track of him, and I always thought he'd be interesting for the show because he's a loose cannon. Well, I've been trying to get him back to at least talk to me on the show, and I think hopefully if he doesn't ghost me, next Sunday night also I'm going to bring Edward on the show. I'm not going to have like any guest next week. It's going to be a little bit of storytelling time and just a little segment appearance, hopefully by Edward, and you'll see why. And that's that. Tonight, however, I'm going to have, it's the last, what time is it, kids? It's the last Sunday of the month. That's what time it is. And let's see what we got here. Hey, Michelle. Sorry, I wasn't on that spot. You're on time tonight. I like it. Where was I? Oh. every last Sunday of the month. I've been fortunate enough to have Mr. Bob Paff on a last Sunday of the month show that we're liking to call East Meets West. Baltimore's own Mr. Bob Paff, East Coast, and me here on the West Coast, kind of meeting in the middle and talking about things that are going on in his neck of the woods, my neck of the woods, the whole country, the world, whatever. But tonight we are going to be talking to Mr. Bob Paff, and not a hard subject to talk about. We're gonna be talking about mental health. May, I guess, seems to be Mental Health Awareness Month. As Michelle said to me earlier this afternoon in a message, there's never enough time to talk about mental health. It should be talked about 12 months out of the year. And that is correct. But if they do bring it out a little extraordinary, I mean, I jumped on the bandwagon, several weeks ago. We talked about this kind of stuff. We're kind of just starting early, and being that this is the last Sunday of the month and next month being Memorial Day weekend, I've decided that I'm taking off. And Bob, if you're out there and you hear me, you get the month off. Wait a minute, I'll bring you in a minute. He's smiling. Hang on. So, all right, but first, I'm taking. I just it's hard always having to be somewhere. Even TV shows get they do a rerun or something like that. Well, I'm coming to terms. But first, speaking of coming to terms, I could not be here to do a rerun or do a day off or a month off if it wasn't for my beloved Bolt Energy. And I want to tell you a little bit about Bolt Energy, but I want to do it in advertisement form. Okay, so give me a minute, pay attention, and I'll be right back. Hey everybody, Peter G from the Peter G Show here, the greatest divorced and single parenting talk show guy, period. I talk about real life. People need to talk about real life. Speaking about real, meet Bolt Energy, the real deal. Why Bolt Energy, you ask? Good question. It's a cleaner energy drink. No preservatives. Fortified with minerals, vitamins, and nutrients. Meat? Not so much. Here's something that really is the kicker that you probably didn't know. George Washington took a ton of this stuff across the Delaware. How do you think we won the war? I cannot tell a lie. So ask for it by name, Bolt Energy. Tell them Peter G from the Peter G Show sent you. And as always, love you guys. Peace out.
Peter G Show.
That's a true story, by the way. I saw it on the internet that George Washington. Oops, and I just muted. God bless it. A little bit off today, although I feel good. But yeah, I saw it on the internet that George Washington took Bolt Energy across the Delaware. That's how he kept everybody pumped up with Bolt Energy. Bolt Energy, no preservatives. Go try to find that in an energy drink. You're not going to find it. I love Bolt Energy. I like the way it tastes. If you can't find Bolt Energy, go find Bolt Energy on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just Bolt Energy LLC. Say, hey, Bolt Energy people, where can I find your drink that Peter G from the Peter G Show talks about every week? As I said, they know what I do and they still sponsor me. Who's got it better than me? Anyway. Okay. Real quick, and I almost spaced this whole commenting thing and all that. I need you guys to subscribe to YouTube, Peter G Show. We are now finally streaming live on LinkedIn. That only took 6 months to get approval, but we're there. So we're all there. And when you're commenting, if you're commenting, I can't read the comments unless you are on the official YouTube page or the official Peter G Show page on Facebook. That's the only way I can see them. Otherwise, all the other pages, I'll have to see them afterwards. Without further ado, look at that. Okay, I'm finally seeing all the comments now. Love you guys. Keep it coming. Let's see what's going on here. And without further ado, Bob, you ready? Shake your head. I can't hear you. Shake your head. Yes? Okay. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the infamous, seen and heard through all parts of the universe, my friend, Mr. Bob Paff.
Hey, Peter.
How you doing, Bob?
I'm good.
Yeah. Looking good. There you go. Look at it. much warmer setting. I only get a window shot. You got the whole ball of wax behind you. Looks good.
And it's the real deal. It's not a green screen or whatever. This is my living room.
Are you sure you're not at a Hollywood set?
No, this is my living room.
You walk around the corner and the thing's on wheels and it's got a wooden wall now.
No.
All right. Well, that's
it's the real deal.
The real deal. Hey,
comfort of my home.
Who doesn't like the real deal?
Right.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, this is the Greeks' Palm Sunday, believe it or not. Weeks later.
I know that. And next Friday is the Greek Good Friday. And Sunday is the Greek Easter because I will be celebrating Greek Easter. You'll be happy to know.
Wow. Why? What's the that's really
what's the connection?
Yeah.
So my son, who's engaged to a young lady from Egypt, her family, her mom is here. Her brother's in Texas, but her mom is here, and we're celebrating Greek Easter with them.
Are they Greek or just Orthodox or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean,
So it's an Orthodox.
Greek Orthodox?
Yeah, not necessarily Greek as well. It could be Armenian Orthodox. It could be, here's the thing. And this is, my father was a huge historian. If he could have been a professor without a degree, he had this knack of knowing what century, what king ruled. I mean, he just had this.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. And he loved to talk about it too. I got tired because I was his son. But the Catholics went and kind of changed the calendar. There was a discrepancy in dates, and we actually followed the Jewish calendar. It's all about the moons. That's how they did it back then. It was about and so that's the one thing. And growing up as a kid, it was really, really weird. I'm going to talk about this next week, but because in school I was almost embarrassed because like it was American Easter, and it could fall on the same date one year, and it could fall three weeks later the next year.
Correct. Yeah, this is like a month apart.
Yeah, so it's very, very. But some months, some years, it's the week after, or it just so it was weird for me. But now it's like I understand, and when you're young, you're a kid, you're a kid. But anyway, so it's Palm Sunday today, so it's kind of, here we are.
I love the food. My son's future mother-in-law is an amazing cook, and so
me too. My mother was back, again when my parents were growing up. I mean, they grew up during World War I and II. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't make it, you didn't have it. So my mother was an amazing cook, and I really miss her cooking. I mean, because even if you go to a restaurant to get the same dish, everybody's got different recipes. You know what I mean? It's so nothing tastes like your mother's stuff if your mother was a good cook. And as my mother got sick, my father took over, and she'd be yelling at him, tasting his food, and Anyway, all right, look, but. Hey, I've been watching you. So Friday, I caught your show. By the way, folks, those of you, or you tell them about your Friday night, your Friday evening show.
Yeah, so I just do. You know what? And we should have you on. We should have you. It's easy to bring you on. We should have you on Friday night. Now that would be 3 p.m. your time. I don't know how that works for you on a Friday.
How would we do that?
I can bring you on Facebook Live. Did you know that? I mean, I can. You can.
Oh, you really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm going to have there's a guy, Travis Whitaker, who is a treatment and addiction counselor, and I think he just moved to Newport Beach, California. But he said something about coming on the show, and because he's been in recovery himself for I think 12 years, or clean for 12 years or so. I'm going to get the terminology messed up, but yeah, I can bring you on. So what I did is I went to Facebook Live and I saw where it says invite somebody, and then they'll be on with me.
Really? Okay.
As opposed to weighing in, so we could do that. But so what I do is, I came off the air on an AM station, for those who don't know, and I just decided to do it in my living room, this is the set. And so we do it every Friday night at between 6 and 6:30, depending on. The nice thing about it, Peter, is I don't have, at the station, I have to abide by their time frame, and you get 36 minutes of airtime because of commercial breaks. And this way, I typically go on between 6 and 6:30, depending on what's going on. This Friday, I was helping a friend produce a video in D.C., and believe it or not, so Baltimore's about 45 minutes from D.C. without traffic, which is impossible. So I allow 2 hours.
Yeah, sure.
2 hours.
Yeah, I would.
to get from Baltimore to DC, and I just made it on getting back.
Right.
I just made it. So, and we had Pastor Ray, our friend Pastor Ray,
I like him,
who does amazing work with the homeless people. I mean, you heard it, you saw it. I mean,
that was the first time I heard him. And I'll tell you, I was laying down kitchen flooring, and I happened to remember. I go, "Oh, Bob's on right now." So I put it on while I'm killing myself because I did not hire somebody to do it, thinking, "Oh, I could do this," and I did, and I'm doing it. But oh my God, my body's in such pain. But so I listened, and I never got to really hear Pastor Ray. And I just would read little things, and very kind man, very nice man.
Well, and he was very transparent that he himself had lost everything within like a 3-day period.
Wow.
His job, his marriage, his home, his everything gone. And so he does incredible stuff. So I'm hoping to get out there. I couldn't do it today, but next Sunday, because he does his Church Without Walls. He gave me his card, Church Without Walls. And
that's reading correctly right now, believe it or not.
Is it? See that? Is it?
I can read it. Yeah.
Good. So from 1 to 2 on Sundays, they all get to, and so many people who listen to and follow my show have joined Pastor Ray and support him. You know, they send clothes and money and food and whatever stuff. So anyway, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So your show every Friday?
Every Friday. You know, I'm debating. Some people are asking me to do it more, so I'm debating whether to maybe do a morning kind of a thing. I pop on every now and then, and I will tell people I'll promote the show. Like, you do a great job promoting your show. I'll just drop the camera or the phone in my tripod like I've got here now, and I'll let everybody know what's going on, and then that goes.
You're a lot more organic. You know, I did something today when I was working. Believe me.
Favorite words.
Well, because it sucks up your life, Bob. I mean, unless you got people. I mean, promoting is the shows. This hour plus is like the best part of my whole. But the work to get to it, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I mean, it's like it consumes you. You know.
Yeah, no, brother, I hear you. I mean, listen, I've got a sales, marketing, media background. I get it, but organic. You know what's funny, Peter? People will say to me all the time, "You should do this, you should do that," and I was like, "No, you shouldn't," because I don't want to. You know, so you know me well enough now. Organic and grassroots are the words. Like, I could be doing this on. I've got a YouTube channel and all the other things, but this works for me and it's comfortable. I had somebody tuning in from Malaysia. We get Australia on a regular basis. We've had China. We have Ireland. We have London. We have people, and I have a huge following on LinkedIn. I have about 24,000 people.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
But you're right. Organic is the right word. I do things and I write the same way. I write and I speak, and I don't mean it to sound this simplistic as I'm going to say, but I write and speak when I feel like it. But it comes down, and feeling like it is the inspiration. Like, if I don't have anything to say, I don't say anything. Does that make sense? I mean, I really just like tonight. I'll tell you before. I took my daughter back to her mother's for her week, and I came home, and I told you I'm doing this. Maybe you saw that I'm doing this Weight Watchers plan, which I love. I've got the app, and I do this and I do that. So I went out to take a walk, and I live on the same block where my church is. Thank God. I mean, right up the street. My church is right up the street. Yeah. And so I took a walk. I wanted to hit 10,000 steps. I was so close, and I just went over 11,000. But I walked around the neighborhood, and then I walked the church property. And it's huge. You've seen pictures of it. It's a cathedral. It holds 1,500 people. Yeah. And it sits on lots of acres. So I walked around the church and cleared my head and did all this, this thinking and talking, whatever. But there's some days that I feel like I don't really have anything to say. I mean, I do. I could say something every day. Sure. But there were other times I'm so prolific that I'm posting left and right, and great things are coming to me and all that kind of stuff like that. But organic's the right word.
10,000 steps, 10,000 steps. Cause I've been walking today while I was up there, and, and that's when I went with bringing up the organic thing. I said, you know what, I'm going to just, do this and see.
It was great. I saw you doing that. It's about 5 miles.
You're right. It is about 5 miles. That's almost 2 hours of my time. You know what I mean? And and I'm walking, and But today, for the first time, I actually jogged on the way back. I'm not a jogger, and that's tough for me. And but it's downhill coming from where I live, and on the streets or the sidewalks. And I actually jogged. It's been since March I started walking because I'm telling you, I've been degrading physically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm jogging a little bit, and so I hope I can kind of keep that up.
I want to get to that point. My goal is to do a marathon. I'm not a runner. I don't like it.
I've never been either.
I don't like it. I'm an athlete. I've played sports all my life. I've been riding horses since I was 10 years old.
Oh.
I enjoy walking, but running has never appealed to me. But I'm on a mission to drop 45 pounds. I'm heavier than I've ever been in my entire life. And I'm going to get there. I think finally I found a program that works. You can eat everything and anything. You just can't eat all of it. Like you can eat the pizza, but you can't eat the entire pizza. And I can eat an entire pizza.
I know, me too.
Pizza. I've actually, you know what? I've gone out maybe I'll drop my daughter off at her mom's and it's a Sunday night. I was like, go to the local place. I'll just get a small one, but I eat the whole thing.
I know. And I eat that and I feel fine. And then 20 minutes later, that's when I start expanding and going.
Yeah, that's exactly
I can't believe it. Yeah.
You literally start expanding the gluten and everything else in there, right? The carbs and all that bad stuff. I agree with you.
When I was touring, we ate really well when I was touring. I mean, because you got, catering and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd literally feel great. And then 2 weeks after I'd get home, the pounds would pack on.
Yeah.
It was a delayed effect every time because when I'm in Connecticut or the East Coast, Italian food. Come on, there's no better,
Oh, my son's in Rhode Island. So have you ever been to Providence, Rhode Island?
I have not.
Connecticut.
I have not.
Huge Italian influence.
They're all over the place.
The rumor is that the mafia hung out there. Yeah. They would hang out. They'd leave New York and hang out. But Providence, Rhode Island is a foodie town. And who would have thought? Because Rhode Island's this big. The only place smaller is Delaware.
Still East Coast.
Amazing food scene in Providence, Rhode Island.
I get fat, and even though we were active and I was always moving, the thing was, when I was younger, my metabolism was better. So now I'm getting older; it's getting tough, and this sucks. And I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Okay.
Well, you probably saw my post the other day. I mean, I don't have an addictive personality as far as drugs or alcohol or whatever, but food comforted me when my son died, and I just was like, oh man, I'm just like, if somebody handed you 45 pounds of sand and said, Peter, carry this around forever, you'd get tired and you'd put it down. But when you're carrying it on your body, so anyway.
Yeah, the Oscars are on tonight. I hope you didn't miss them.
Oh God, I watched about 10 or 15 minutes of it and I turned it off. I mean, I don't watch much television anyway, and so I put it on because there was nothing else.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God.
Well, I'm really hoping that this is really going to bring a new beginning to everything, because in my eyes, all these big, giant, grand events and all that was nothing but a bunch of people just patting themselves on the back, making $1 gazillion and then bitching about things. It's like screw them.
I have to tell you though, in fairness, and I don't know if you saw this, I watched Tyler Perry's. He got the humanitarian award, and I don't know, isn't he the one that did the Mandina or Medella?
Yeah, Medina. I like him.
He gave a great speech. He gave a great speech. He talked about his mother, and his mother said, "Junior, find a way." And I love that he said, my mother didn't want to live off the dole and live off the system and worked hard. And he also said he talked something about hating people, and I don't hate people. And he said, I can't say it as eloquently as he did, but he talked about whether you're black or white or Jewish or Asian or whatever, that I don't hate anyone. And I really, it was a beautiful speech. It really was. I mean, what he's done at his studio and what he did keeping people employed and vaccinated. And
he's amazing. He's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool. I was blown away. And Whoopi Goldberg, was talking about him or whatever, but this is a guy who's really putting his money where his mouth is, and very impressive. I was very moved by it came from the heart. You can't take that.
I'm just
take that.
Sundays I'm scrambling. I mean, after I finally got out and walked, and then it was like, I had to go into haul ass mode. But anyway, which we'll check. I just wanted to let you know, it's Oscar night. I didn't know how many people get distracted by that, but I think a lot less than normal.
Oh, I think a lot less. I saw somebody on Facebook, that was saying, "Yeah, not watching this or whatever." So I don't watch.
I think
I don't
times
watch any of those, the Grammys or whatever. They get up there and a lot of they proselytize. They're the millions and millions of dollars that many of them have. Not all of them.
Right.
And then telling you and I how to live and how this and how self-righteous and all that. I think that's what people. I don't think people want to hear. They want to be entertained.
Exactly, and it's gotten political, and it's like, you know what? Just do the song.
Political. They use that as their, it's their grandstanding. They use it as their bully pulpit.
Well, and they don't belong. That's like, dude, you got paid $1 gazillion to do what you're doing. Do it and shut up.
Listen, they have a right to speak, but I think in the privacy or whatever. But to get up there and use, that's not the time
Public
or the place to do that.
If you want to be a news anchor, be a news anchor.
Who was Scarlett Johansson? I think is the one who came out and said that she didn't think it was appropriate, that's not her job. Her job is to entertain people and whatever. And I agree with her.
God bless her.
On the papers.
Yeah,
so it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
All right, so here's what we got to do, Bob, because I started early this past month talking about mental health, and I mean we've always touched on it almost every show together because we cover the bases so much. But being that next month is going to be Mental Health Awareness Month, and this is the last Sunday of the month, and next month I don't know if you caught that, but I'm going to take Memorial Day weekend.
Take it off, so I get the month of May off.
Yes, you do. So but I got to tell you, even though it felt like we were just on not too long ago, because you always say that, I was kind of excited tonight to talk to you. I mean, only because I enjoy the banter. I do. I know it's tough for you because it's very late over there. You're always like, you're keeping me up, but it goes down well.
Well, you know what, Peter, in fairness to me now, really, remember, I spent a week in the hospital. February, I had COVID, I had double pneumonia.
Yes.
And it's only been within the last few weeks that I really feel like my energy has shifted mentally, physically. I can't really explain it. I'm very, even more than spiritual, my faith means a lot to me. I am a practicing Catholic, and so my faith means a lot to me. I also believe in alternative medicines and spirituality and energy and all that kind of stuff. And for some reason, over the last few weeks, things have shifted. I will tell you, I'm even feeling better. I think I was kind of last month. Did we do it at the end? I don't think we did it at the end of February, did we? Because
we did. No, not the end of February. The end of March. March.
Right. The end of March.
You were
last 2 weeks. I'm really getting back to feeling like myself. I mean, walking 10,005 miles, I've not been able to do since I can't tell you how long, and I would feel that. So.
When you walk over there, is it flat or is it hilly? I mean, because like in Florida,
depends on the community. It's so this one has a little bit of both.
I'm telling you, it's killing me over here because we're very California.
Yeah, I mean Maryland's not like Texas, so it's not all flat.
I don't know.
Yeah. Horse country and this and that and everything else. So no, we've got some, and I live in a community or whatever. So there's some hills, but not steep stuff.
Gotcha. So the whole thing was that, we talk every time I think we talk, we touch on some form of mental health. I mean, we talk about a lot of, personal things that are very important that we get down to business. But this month I really wanted to focus even more so, even though we've already covered the various grounds of a lot of stuff. Now we're going to go into mental health. I mean, because you've always said to me, I wish, and I really would like to start to where people get free mental health, just like St. Jude's, the children, and this and that. And I've been thinking about that. It's like St. Jude's has been around since I was a child.
Well, I think, wasn't it Danny Thomas who started?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Marla, who's like 80 years old now herself, is taking it over. So, correct.
But so how? I mean, you would think that something as important as mental health, and there's all facets of mental health. I mean, that's the problem. It's such a wide defined mental health. Are you mentally ill, or do you have a mental health codependency? There's so many different ways you can go with this whole thing. You'd think by now, if it was going to get done, it would have been done.
Yeah. And so I think we're all dealing with some level of I don't want to say mental illness, but we're all walking around with some low level depressions or sadness or whatever. But let me put it this way. I think that mental illness, mental health is really the foundation of most of the issues that we have going on really in this country. I think it's that powerful. I think it leads to, I use my son as an example. Unfortunately, it leads to addiction. It leads to the shooting in Indianapolis. That kid at the FedEx Center, who was 19 years old, had been institutionalized. The other thing I don't think I'm wrong by saying this, I've been talking to some people about this, some very knowledgeable people. I think every one of those shooters has been a male. I don't think there have been any girls, right?
Right.
I
They
think.
use knives.
What's that?
They use knives.
The girls use knives.
Yeah, like last week
But
almost.
you know, the whole thing with I'm sitting here now. I'm looking at the Baltimore Sun, prioritize drug treatment. It saves lives and reduces crime. And then the Wall Street Journal. So this is about you guys out there on the West Coast. Fentanyl woes are now gripping the Western United States. Overdose death rise as the drug cartels push synthetic opioid into other parts of the nation. So they singled out San Francisco. More people died of overdoses than died of COVID. In 2020, a 61% increase for the previous year. People are taking drugs and risking their lives just for the hell of it. I mean, they're taking it and they're becoming addicted because they're using it as a form of coping.
Yeah, I don't think they feel that they're risking their lives. But you know what I mean. But they're
Right.
taking.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what?
They are.
It's the pain of whatever they're dealing with mentally, emotionally, psychologically is so great that it's worth the risk of them taking the drug for that 15 minutes or so, which apparently is what heroin is, about a 15-minute high, and then you've got to take it again. And then, of course, your body builds up an immunity to this stuff, and then you've got to, you titrate up, to use the medical term, to a certain level of drugs in your system. And then once you get used to that, you got to just sort of keep ramping that up. But the bottom line is, I say I don't get it, but and I said something earlier. We've been in Afghanistan for 20 years, and now Biden wants to pull everybody out by September 11th. That's what his ceremonial date is because of 9/11.
Sure.
And we've spent trillions and trillions of dollars over there, and we've never won any war on the ground. We could beat the war on drugs if we really wanted to, but there's so much money, in my opinion. And I know we're talking about mental health, but I'm tying drugs into mental health. If we really wanted to do this, Peter, I think we should have a mental health screening. You know what? If you started, you look at suicide is the second leading cause of death among kids 15 to 24. So if you started with kids when they went in for their annual checkups, you started a mental health screening, it would become the norm for people. How does that 19-year-old kid who shot all those people, I think 8 people died in Indianapolis, how does a person like that get through the system? He had been institutionalized. His mother called and said, I'm worried that he's going to do something. And so he kills those people, and then he turns the gun on himself and kills himself. But if we had a screening process, I think it would change so many things. It would change so many things.
Was it you that said, no one knows what's going on in other people's minds? I mean, you just don't, sometimes you just don't even see it happening, but it's all going on and happening, and boom, all of a sudden, I can't believe it. One of those deals.
Well, and this pandemic has made it worse. I mean, it's made it worse. I mean, people are shut in, they're shut down. We're social creatures by nature. And I've read a lot of things about even the introverts, even the ones who are okay being alone, we're struggling with a lot of this. The extroverts, my God, of which I'm one, just like going out of their minds. I think part of the shift for me, to be honest with you, in my energy, was when churches opened back up again. We might have talked about this at the last show. I crave that community, and it was a sense of, but it's now, somebody was telling me the other day, and I don't know if it's true, I haven't seen the numbers, that attendance in church is like way up. People are like pouring back in after all this time. I don't know if that's true. but I heard it from
Will
somebody.
they maintain? I mean, to me, I always found like a lot of people cop religion when things are getting really, really bad, and then once everything gets kind of good, you kind of start falling off again.
Absolutely true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think I think for a lot of people, as instead of being a constant, I think religion is like a last hope.
Yeah, look, I'm kind of guilty of it myself. I mean, I don't go to church as much as I should because of scheduling. With with the Greeks, there's not masses. You have one divine liturgy. If you don't show up and make it when that one church service is on,
really?
you don't get to go to another one till next week.
Oh, see, the Catholics will do a Friday night,
I know.
Saturday night, 5 o'clock, and then 3 or 4 on Sunday.
You got like movie matinee showings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And you can't do it. So that's always been a problem. It's like Sunday morning. Oh yeah. But let me tell you something. The Greeks are so friggin' old school. They have not broken that tradition. They go, again, when standing in church as a kid, it felt like centuries that you're in church, because the Catholics. I used to when I lived in Connecticut, we lived across the street from a Catholic church. Wow. When I was growing up. And so you'd see the masses and 35 minutes, boom, in and out. You know what I mean? The Greeks, it's an hour and a half, and it felt like 3 days, or 2 hours. I mean, you're in church and
well, a good Catholic mass is an hour.
Okay.
I go during the weekend; it's a half an hour, but because it's a shorter version during the week. When I go to the 5:30 mass, and it's done. I'm out by 5 minutes of 6.
Most people show up 15, 20 minutes, into it. You know what I mean?
Yes, people will do that.
Yes.
With the Catholics, it's kind of like as long as you get there before communion.
Communion. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Which pisses me off, to be honest with you. I'm like, I just get annoyed. The older I've gotten, the earlier I like to arrive. I have a fetish about being late. I just
me too.
I just don't like to be late.
If you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, and so I get annoyed when people come walking in.
At the same time, though, sometimes better late than never. At least they came because I know. But I mean, pick your. You know what I mean? There's. I
think it's better that they're there than not.
Yeah, than not.
I hear you.
I got somebody saying healthcare providers do indeed do mental health screenings. Yeah, providing you get somebody to do a healthcare screening.
Yeah, right. They don't routinely do that. I mean, I just went in for my physical, and my doc didn't ask me how I'm feeling or doing or whatever like that. So they do it if you go in and say I'm feeling sad or depressed or whatever. But what I'm talking about is it's. Listen, that it's available if people say, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling suicidal, I'm feeling homicidal, whatever. I think that that should be available to everyone, regardless of ability to pay. So you're the listener there.
She says bad doctor then.
Bad doctor.
Yeah, not not taking you seriously.
Is she trying to say that every doctor does a routine mental health screening? I don't think so. I mean, I was married to a doctor. I've sat on 2 hospital boards. A lot of my friends are doctors. I don't think it's.
They probably forget. They just go through the motions. What's your problem, and
they don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot of time. They have 15 minutes or whatever. They don't have a lot of time.
It's called the what is it called? The PHQ-9. For the one for anxiety is called a GAD-7. I don't know. It's way over my head. And she's a doctor. She happens to be my doctor. And she's watching. She makes me cough a lot. But
listen, here's my position on that. I think it needs to be more front and center. We talk about the stigma around mental illness, and so it's there. And so once you put it out there, and I've had people on my show who have been very candid about, I'm not going to mention any of their names now, but they've been very candid about their own struggles with mental health and depression. And listen, here's a medical term for you. Obviously sad as shit when my son died, probably walking around with some low level form of depression, never diagnosed with anything, no suicidal ideations or any of those things like that. No. But there are a lot of people walking around with what I'll describe, Peter, as a heaviness. I would say, I'm feeling just really this heaviness, this weight on me, and we all have different coping mechanisms and efficiencies when it comes to coping with stress and depression and things like that. We're all made differently when it comes to that. Everybody has a different breaking point.
That's the problem, and you can't read everybody. At least some people are really good at reading people. I'm not that good at it. I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, some people can hide that very well. I mean, let's take an example front and center. And I remember, who was it? There was a professor at Yale who this was a big deal, and I think Dershowitz might have sued her. She sort of gave this diagnosis of Alan Dershowitz during one of the, I think when he was defending Trump. She was basically diagnosing him based on his comments, and the American Psychiatric Association clamped down on her. You remember that? And so but here's the example I was going to make. If you look at Hunter Biden, look at Joe Biden's son, who is, it's very public. I'm not talking at school. He has struggled with, we're talking crack cocaine and all kinds of stuff, that he has struggled with addiction for a long, long time. You could make the argument, I'm sure, clearly something's going on there emotionally. I mean, he lost his brother, and then Biden lost his wife and a daughter, I think, in that automobile accident. So you could say that, has Hunter suffered from, the word I want to use, and I've circled it here on my little yellow pad, look, is traumas. Can you see it?
Yeah, gotcha.
Is trauma. So and I saw, it's funny, I saw a post the other day that everything sort of results from the traumas in our lives.
It's possible, but I mean, you could become you could fall into that hole even without all that trauma. Just have an addictive personality, like you said, yours. I'm not an addictive personality too. I've played and I can put things down, or used to put. Life. Because I'm very, very, and believe me, I'm so thankful for that, because I've had very close people I love very much that couldn't, and I had to walk away from them, or they did die, all of the above, you name it.
Well, in fairness, and people will say addiction's a choice, which obviously, again, I lost a son to addiction and overdose, and so I sort of resent that whole argument, particularly for people who haven't lost anyone or don't know, haven't struggled with addiction, saying it's a choice.
No, nobody means
it. Clearly alters the brain. I mean, the science has proven that. I mean, I've had doctors on my show. I've had addiction specialists on my show. I've had pain management people on my show. It alters the brain chemistry. So it's like, listen, if that weren't the case, would people be addicted to cigarettes, for God's sake? I mean, nicotine's addictive, right?
That's a tough one too, yeah. And even though it doesn't immediately kill you, but that is I always tell people, look, I don't smoke, and I'm, again, thankful for that, but I understand. But man, it's such a waste. It is such a waste.
But when we're talking about addiction, so you talk about something like nicotine, imagine heroin or cocaine or some of those things that, again, are highly addictive and quickly fatal, as opposed to cigarettes may or may not kill you. They do kill you, but you may or may not get cancer from smoking, versus playing roulette every time you.
It's more a quicker possibility. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You
know what I want to do while we're talking about this? I want to open up the phone lines.
Okay.
In case anybody wants to call. Now, here's the problem with the phone lines. I don't have a phone screener. So if the phone happens to ring, I'm going to catch it. We'll stop mid-sentence or whatever. If anybody wants to call in, where am I? I'm right there. There we go.
Very cool.
Man,
you were impressive. See, I'm so organic that I'm just like...
Look, this took a long time. I got weaned off of a producer, and now I'm doing it. But believe me, I'm like an octopus right below the camera line.
Man, with the CG running on the bottom of the screen there. I love that.
Believe me when I tell you, I'm using all my hands and limbs.
Is Gene Barnett not tuning in tonight? Where's
you know what?
Where's Gene?
You got you listen. You can talk to your girlfriend on your own time.
Oh,
she's like, Bob, you're so handsome. Hey. I think she's trying to get us riled up.
She's a big fan of yours, though.
Yes, she is. God bless her. I'm just making jokes.
God bless. Yeah, because Peter, listen, anybody on the East Coast who's watching you right now, it's 12:15 here, my friend. So That's a commitment if people stayed up to watch the Peter G Show.
Well, that's the thing, and they took away the watch parties this past month. Now there's no more you can't share your shows, and that really sucks.
Right.
And so I don't. Yeah, either way, I said, you know what? And they haven't said like they're going to do anything to make it better, like to replace it or anything like that. So I was like, I'm pissed.
Why did they take those away? Why did they?
You know what? I don't know that you can't talk to Facebook to ask them why they did that. And I liked it because I could share different times through the week, and people pick up, and they're still going to be, because this stuff still rolls around Facebook and all these places anyway. But now that's why I'm telling people, it's like, you know what, just subscribe to the freaking YouTube channel. I never used to do it, but I'm doing it. Hey, we got a phone call. Hang on 1 second. All right. Yep. Hey, you're on with Life of Peter G. Who's this?
Peter?
Hey, hello.
It's Sarah.
Hey, Sarah, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. How about you?
I'm good. What are you doing tonight?
I'm watching your show. I have a question for Bob.
Okay, let's get Bob. Yeah. Bob, you here, Sarah?
Do you hear me, Bob?
I can hear you, Sarah, yes.
Hi, I'm just curious what you're wearing there on your right wrist. I hear jade is grounding, so I'm just curious, what are you wearing and why? Oh,
so these beads here were given to me so I work with an energy healer. I believe in quantum energy and all that. And so, Sarah, they mean something. One of them is the Archangel Michael. Green's my favorite color, but I don't know what this means, but they're beads here. I don't know if you can see these, but it's the Archangel Michael on either side. So these were a gift to me. Somebody referred to them as puka beads, but I think the puka beads are the ones you wear around your neck, aren't they? I don't think the pukas. I don't know if Sarah's still with us.
Yeah, she is, but we keep getting your girlfriend's calling right now.
So, Sarah, thank you for noticing. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly what the different colors mean or whatever, but they were a gift to me from my friend Gregory Dean. So let me plug Gregory in his work.
Sarah, do you know what they mean?
I don't. So I was curious.
Oh wow, that's a.
Yeah, I should because I wear them all the time. It's a funny story with the two green ones that I wear. As I said, green's my favorite color, and I lost one of them one day, and it was really strange because I don't remember it come. And they're not going to fall off, but it was gone. So I was wondering whether somebody stole it, and then Gregory made me another one to replace it. And then I got into my car one day, like a month later, and hit something on the console and looked down, and there it was. It was in my car, and like how it got there, how it fell off my wrist down there, I don't know. But so now I have two of them. So yeah.
Hey Bob. Green means go.
Green means go.
Green means go. I like that.
Hey, Sarah, anything else?
Thank you, Sarah.
Let you go.
There was something, but I forgot. So anyway, you know what? Somebody told me that the whole world is going to open up on June 15th. So
what is June 15th, Sarah?
I don't know where that came from, but somebody
the world's going to open up.
That's what I heard. So we'll see.
What Sarah, does that mean?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
We're all going to get back to normal.
Apparently.
Whatever. I don't think
the whole world decided this.
That's not going to happen. Sarah, do you believe in the?
I don't think we're getting back to normal anytime soon, or
they're going to make
sooner
sure
or later.
Yeah, exactly.
What does normal mean anymore? My God, it's really frightening, right?
People forget very quickly. That's
as long as we stay grounded, Bob. So good for you for your bead and your energy.
Thank you. Maybe that's what it is. It's the grounding, Sarah. So I try, as an old guy to, this is not the world I grew up in, but I'm dating
myself. 60, Bob. You're not old. You're only 60.
Yeah, Bob.
All right, take care.
All right,
thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Love you too. Bye.
All right, let's take another call here. Hey, you're on the Peter G Show. Who's this?
Oh, this is Jean.
Hey,
there she is.
Ladies.
How are you?
You got a question? You got a question for Bob?
I like your show. It's really great. You guys are doing a great job.
Yes, teamwork.
Yep.
Thank you, Gene. Right. Gene, I just told Peter it's very late for you to stay up to tune in. So thank you.
I enjoy watching it.
I appreciate that.
Gene told me a while back that she takes a nap. She gets one in so that way she can stay up late and watch the show.
Well, you told me to do that. Remember when I was complaining that I can't stay up this late because it's 1 o'clock by the time I wind down and get to bed? You said,
just trying to help. Just
I'm
trying
not a napper. I'm not a napper. I've
Yeah.
never been a napper.
So, Gene, now that you're on the phone and you get Bob right here, you have any questions for Bob?
I just like what he's
Gene, how
doing.
are you doing, Gene? I know you lost
He's
your
doing a
brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing better, but I have my moments sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Hey, Gene, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
All right. So Peter and I are talking about mental health, and we're talking about things like depression. You just lost your brother, and I think I think mental health coverage and screening and care should be available to everyone, regardless of their ability to pay. What do you think about the mental health crisis and the need for that, Gene? I mean, I'm sure you've had your issues of depression around the loss of your brother and others, right?
Right. Yeah. I think that's a good idea, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think it will. I think there are a lot of people that suffer in silence, Gene, and what Peter and I try to do, and some of the guests on my show, Andrew Altman's been on the show and has talked about his own personal struggles. We all have them. So the question is, how do you deal with it? Right.
And I like your show with Pastor Radio Friday night. That was really great.
Thank you. Yeah, he's an incredible guy. Peter was saying that, so Peter had not seen Pastor Ray or heard Pastor Ray, and he was
that was really great. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, good. All right, Gene, listen, it's always a pleasure. Go get some sleep.
I saw my sister-in-law yesterday, and she's having a hard time, you know, because she was married to my brother, and she's having a hard time too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, of course. So this was her husband. Your brother was her husband.
In fact, she's getting a puppy in June.
That'll help.
You know.
Well,
I mean, that's called love, Gene. I mean, it just nobody wants
unconditional love, Peter. Right? The dogs. I don't have any pets anymore.
Well, the dogs. But I'm talking about like being, losing somebody.
Well,
I mean,
yeah. Well, after my brother passed away, they had a lab, and it was 14 years old, and it developed cancer last June. So she had to put it down right after my brother passed away, because I think.
Oh, geez.
You know,
wow. Oh.
Yeah, that was hard. You know.
Of course.
So now she's getting another lab.
What?
There you go.
She already has a name picked out for it, and there's a story behind that. She's going to name it Ruby. She's going to name it Ruby because my brother's birthday was in July, and that's his birthday.
Right.
And then one of my mother's sisters, her name was Ruby. So that's
name him Ruby.
That's good. Look at that. That's great.
So we think that's great.
Yeah. Listen.
Well, listen. Kudos to your sister-in-law for recognizing, and let's talk about mental health. Recognizing that she's hurting, she's struggling, she misses your brother.
And then she gave me a nice picture yesterday too. The picture that we put on Facebook at Christmas time that we did at my other brother's house.
Yeah.
It's a great picture.
That's wonderful.
All right. Gene, thank you for calling in and catching Bob, because I know that when you watch Bob's show, you can't really, you can text to him, but you can't talk to him. I know he appreciates this much.
Yeah, I enjoy talking to you guys whenever I can.
We love you both we both love you very much.
Thank you, Gene.
All right, listen.
Have a good week.
Soon.
Okay, bye.
All right, good night. God bless.
Bye.
There you go, Bob.
See, well, Gene, and thank Gene for being so transparent and putting it out there. Again, the stigma exists. Here's the thing: if you're a hired employee and your employer knows that they can't fire you for things like that, but there is still a stigma attached to I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that. Peter, remember people used to use the term going postal.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah,
to sort of connotate going into the post office.
That's set in stone. It's iconic.
Yeah, exactly. You don't hear that term anymore, but we all know what it means for somebody to go postal.
You're driven
So
to the
now,
extreme.
now if somebody identifies that they've got, they're struggling with something, you wonder to what extent, they're struggling in the manifestation of that, and how stable they may or may not be. So there's still a lot around mental health that we haven't really quite resolved. But I really do believe it is the foundation of much of what ails, I'm going to say this country, but we could apply it to the world, that we're not addressing. We're just not addressing.
No doubt. I mean, again, there's so many. The problem I feel with mental health is it just has so many different areas of mental health. I mean, you got your, PSTD,
PTSD,
yeah, sorry,
post-traumatic stress disorder,
yeah.
PTSD.
I mean, you have true mental health. I mean, mental health where somebody is mentally ill. You have addictional type mental health. So you have depressional mental.
Well, you've got situational. You've got episodic. You've got, some things are inherited. Things will run in families.
It's a broad.
It is broad. It is broad.
And you either I'll tell you one thing. To me, at least, is the ability, if you're fortunate enough to have people that you're close to that care. I mean, family, friends. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't have people. I mean, it's sad. And that's the problem. It's like, because nobody's there to help you address it and go, dude, come on. But I'm here with you. And to me, that's where you lose everybody, because they have nobody and they go, screw it. You know what? Doesn't matter anymore.
The number one problem for people as they age, the number one problem is loneliness. And that's what you were just talking about. And so either our families move away, our kids move away, and they start their own lives. Our friends die off, or relationships change. It's that.
See, and I'm so, like, to me, I'm so pro happiness. You don't have to have a whole lot of money to be happy. I mean, money does help.
Totally agree.
But I'm telling you, because it's like happiness is worth more in your soul than any dollar amount. I mean, I've seen, it just is, and it's just sad to watch people. The old man I used to live with, who's been gone over a year now, his birthday's coming up in May, and I mean, I daily, because I pray for him daily, because he was just he chose to be alone, and as he got older, he got miserable, and like when you were alone for that long, you can't live with anybody anymore, because it's just because you're just alone, and that's that. And and not even a dog, like he would play with other people's dogs, but he wouldn't have his own, and because he didn't want the responsibility, and it was sad but true. And so I don't know, I just involve him in my prayers, because I watched the man suffer, and it as much as I wanted to wring his neck at times because he drove me crazy, I at the end of the day.
How old was he? How old was he when he passed away?
He was only 77.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Only. Now, talking to a 15 or 20-year-old going 77, you're like a dinosaur. But as you get older, to me, I was spoiled. My parents lived into their early 90s, and so I want to be there.
You were spoiled. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, I was. And I'm very, very grateful for that every day. But 150 could not be long enough for them. But at least I got there. You know what I mean? Because I hear the stories of people losing their parents at 11, 10, and it's like, okay, I can't bitch. I can't.
Yeah. No, you can't.
So with Gene, you live off the memories. You live off the good stuff. You too. Anybody, I mean, that's what helps keep you from doing more harm, because you could easily spiral into it's
a slippery slope, Peter. It's a slippery slope. We don't know what our breaking point is until we hit it. That's the other scary part, is like what's going to push you over the top. What's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back? We can use all those cliches.
Rock bottom.
But it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. So
the phone lines are still open, folks. One more phone call, then I'm going to have to let Bob go, because I'm trying to stay on time, kind of, sort of. I'm already
you said we were running over, and it's coming.
We are, but hey, look, if I can keep it at an hour 10, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
But the thing was, see what I mean? How fast time flies, because we're talking.
Oh, no. Well, here's the cool thing about it. I mean, time would really fly when I was at the AM station. But it was, I got about 36 minutes of airtime. The longest block was maybe 5 or 6 minutes. So I had to juggle, and I pretty much always had guests on. So I had to, like, people got in there like, how do you do this? Because I was doing it on Facebook Live, but then I was doing it on the air. And I had to, so I'd say, hold that thought, so I'd get into a deep discussion with the chancellor of the University of Maryland, college campus, and the Secretary of Commerce. I had both those guys on my show at the same time. You're trying to get into an in-depth conversation with the chancellor of a university. And then you got to say, hold that thought, I got to take a commercial break.
Yeah.
There's a lot of juggling that goes on here. And I don't have that restriction now. So, as you know, when Pastor Ray was here, or just doing this with you, and it still goes fast. It still goes very fast.
That it does. I mean, again, and that's the whole thing. And, if anybody who knows me close enough, they say, you have no problem talking, Peter. And that's my curse. That's my blessing, or whatever, however you want.
Peter, one of my, I tell you what, knock on wood, I filled in for on the Delaware Shore. I was asked to fill in, paid to fill in, not asked to fill in, but a 3-hour morning talk show from 9 to 12. And I thought, can I do this? I was really up for it because I wanted to see if I could go for 3 hours. And I did. And I crushed it. It was one of my best shows. And the phone was ringing off the hook. And I was, I filled in for somebody, so they didn't even know me. But it was really great. So much so that when I came off the air, the guy pulled me into the kitchen. It's a small station. And I literally mean the kitchen. He took me into the kitchen. He offered me a job, which was very sweet. But I couldn't do it for multiple reasons. But it was kind of cool. It's like, can I do a 3-hour talk show?
I've thought about that, though, because Rush Limbaugh, all these people, a lot of these shows, they do 3 hours, okay?
Well, Hannity, because my show followed him. He does 3 hours in the afternoon, and it's...
But, they got commercial breaks, too. So, in all actuality, I mean, how long is a 3-hour show? An hour?
3-hour show is probably about 90 minutes.
If you're lucky, I would think it's even less than that. But the thing is, what you're doing or what I'm doing, we're talking straight through. I mean, there's times where you can go, now what I do if you don't have any creativity.
There's no question about it. People do not realize, and that's been part of, I think with me is saying that what you and I do takes a special talent. And most people can't do it. I put myself up against anybody, and I really mean anybody out there. Whether it's
we're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Yeah. No, I think
that's all good. All right, look. We're at that point. We got a couple of calls in, which I'm very thankful. Again, my shy crowd. I got the world's famous lurkers. They'll sit and watch, and I'll get all the feedback through the week. But when they're watching, or if they don't catch it, because again, it is late, and maybe one day we'll change that. And it was the Oscars. Maybe they're all enthralled in the Oscars. But the beauty of it is that this show lives on. And that's the beauty, that like people will catch it through, the time, everything just snowballs and it lives on forever. The bottom line,
I know here on the East Coast, it's now pushing, 1 a.m. So people...
I hear you. I don't get to bed, believe it or not, though. So you'll go to bed. I'm still up. I don't get to home or to bed till at least that time. And I got to get up at 6 a.m. because I have daddy duties for chores for my daughter, that I drive her around, like driving Miss Daisy so she can go do her chores and actually make $1, and while I'm spending money, but that's what dads do,
I hear you, brother. You're talking to a father of 6.
That's right.
Done that and still doing that.
I don't know how the hell you did it. One's enough, but I mean, I would do it all over again.
6, man. I sometimes hear myself say that. Like, I'm so old and tired.
The beauty of the high school thing now is like she's not going to actual school, so I don't have to get up in the morning, and I only live 3 miles away from my ex. So even if she's not with me, it's like last night, my body was killing me from doing flooring. I'm up, 8 hours on my hands and knees because now I'm fitting all the little pieces around the edges, and that's where the talent comes in that I don't have. So there's a lot of oopses, and I just finally like take 3 Advils and go get and sit down, and she's at a birthday party not very far from me, but it's like, Dad, do you think you can pick me up because her sister, half sister, you copped out on her, and it's at 10:30 at night, and so I woosah, I just take a deep breath and it was like, you know what? Because at the end of the day, it's like, what won't we do?
That time's precious.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, and it was. So she gets in the car, and I looked at her first, and I said, "First off, I want to strangle you, but I love you. But why didn't you tell me ahead of time?" And then she told me that her sister, said she's going to bed, and it's like, okay, so here we go. But that's what we do.
Bail
Right?
on her like, out of here, I'm going to bed. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. One day you'll find out. Like I said, if you're into horses, well, you come over here. You've come to the right place, because we are definitely horse enthralled over here. Maybe you can.
Yeah, man. Well, Maryland's big horse country. Big
Yeah.
horse country.
Well,
Yep.
that's it. All right, look.
Kentucky Derby's next Saturday. I couldn't believe it. I was reading who the favorites are, and Bob Baffert's got a horse in there that one of his he had the favorite, and the horse got hurt. But the Kentucky Derby, for those listening and watching us, is next Saturday. Because remember, last year the Kentucky Derby was like in October or something crazy because of COVID. It is always the first Saturday in May, which happens to be May 1st this year. So the Kentucky Derby is Saturday.
I heard that the horses this year have to wear masks.
Oh, it'll be interesting, right?
Not only not fly masks, not fly masks.
Blinders, and now they're
Yeah,
wear
not fly masks. They have to wear masks now because just
all right, Guy.
That's what I heard. Listen, as always, you coming on here. Thank you. I mean, I always worry because I go, one day he's going to say, Peter, okay, I've had enough of this shit. But, but again, I just feel that we're doing good and we don't even know it. We don't even realize what we're doing here, but we are doing something. And that's a good thing. I mean, you're way over there on the East Coast. I'm way over here on the West Coast. And I just had this feeling. And I just said, I'm going to throw it out at you. And if you say yes, yes. And if you say no, no, we'll all.
We did, right? So,
yeah. So thank you. Thank you.
It's good banter. It's good stuff. You can't fake this stuff.
No, you can't make this shit up.
No, you can't make this shit up.
All right, listen, I love you.
Love you.
And thank you. And again, whatever you want from me, if ever I can do whatever. You're getting it together. Your show.
Let's talk about getting you on the show. We'll play with that during the week or whatever.
Your show is growing. Your show is growing. And again, people, I want to remind everybody that Bob Paff every Friday on Facebook does a live show from his living room right there where you're seeing him right now at 7 p.m.-ish Eastern time.
6 to 6:30 p.m.
6, sorry, what do I know?
Eastern Standard Time. That's
yeah. See, you just go on when you want. See, I have to follow a rule, but
go on what I want. Yeah. Depends on when I can throw a log in the fire behind me. So
what?
Even tonight because I'm going to bed. I don't want a log on the fire.
Let me tell you something. Right now, you don't even need everything looks great. I mean, that's you couldn't ask for a better because I was always struggling with lighting issues when we were doing things, and it got that. And now we've kind of changed the whole way we do stuff. But I don't know, it's picture perfect, Bob. So I love
with this. The lighting all around me and. There are sconces. You can't see it, but there are 4 sconces on the walls.
Yeah,
beside me, and then the fireplace is lit up, and then I've got these 2 in the window wells here. This is my living room. So it's good stuff.
Everything's going good. So best with everything, and keep doing what you're doing. And thank you once again for chiming in on something that I know that we could talk endless about. And as far as I know, we're going to take we're going to take Memorial Day weekend off because I got too much going on. Then I don't know if we're going to run a rerun or we're just going to say no show next week. Or I mean that weekend. Right. I don't know what we're doing because every time I say I'm not going to do something like I say I'm going to back down on all the promos through the week and cutting clips. I just get up and start doing it. I can't stop because of this. It's like a Jewish guilt, and I'm not Jewish.
Well, you know that expression: the Jews invented guilt, the Catholics perfected it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you haven't heard that one? I love that. I heard that a while ago. The Jews invented guilt,
I must have some.
Perfected it.
I don't know. I must have a combination of everybody going on. Then again, it's a hotbed back. In Greece, Italy's, and all that Israel. The middle. It was a hotbed. So everybody's got a little bit of somebody in them. And.
Yes.
And so it is what it is. But again, greatly appreciate it.
Listen, happy Easter to you and all that. And
next week.
Because in the Greek Orthodox, so I know Mona, they celebrate all week. It's the biggest thing.
It's Holy Week. It's Holy Week. Let me tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Which in the Catholic Church as well, and it's my daughter's favorite holiday. So it's always.
Well, let me tell you again. My father, you could not. You could not. I mean, there's no other holiday. I'm going to talk about it next week. I got my ass kicked several times as when I was young, of screwing up, not being home on Easter dinner on time.
Really?
Oh
Ooh.
yeah, that holiday is more serious than any Christmas. My
Yes.
father was very, very religious in his own way. I mean, he knew
Yeah.
every word the priest said that came out of his mouth, and
Yeah.
and by verbatim. You know, that I don't know. I mean, the Greek, that language in Greek especially is such a higher Greek that even if you're Greek, it takes more Greek to understand what the hell the priest is saying. Yeah. Yeah. But either way, anyway, so I'm going to talk about it next week a little bit, but thank you. You enjoy it too. I mean, because again, it is serious stuff.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, it's my son's marrying into,
There you go.
culture, and they're from Egypt, so it's not like they're Egyptian heritage.
Yeah,
They're
I mean, you could be from England and be Greek, or you can be,
Oh yeah. But I'm saying they were born there, so and I think everybody's like, well, I'm this and I'm that or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the real deal. So
all right, handle
Okay.
it. All right, we'll be in touch. And again, you need
All right,
me,
brother.
anything, you just let me know. Otherwise, we'll talk during the month.
I
off
appreciate it.
All
Have
right.
a good week. Thank
That's
you.
it. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you just had Mr. Bob Paff, and thank you, Bob, for giving me your time as always. Another great conversation. Time is flying. Can't help it. Just can't help it. All right. Someday they're going to limit me, but until then, it's like, screw it. I'm doing better than I thought I was going to do. But what else we got going on? I want to thank Bob Paff for making the effort to be on again every last Sunday of the month. East meets West. East Coast, Baltimore is Mr. Bob Paff right here on this show, co-hosting with me, sharing the stage. I give him total co-host billing because, again, it takes both of us, teamwork, as we said earlier, to make it to where it's worth the watch. We always got something to say that's worthy of. Anyway, next week, Greek Easter, I'm going to be here. I'm going to tell a couple little stories, and no big certain guests. I'm hoping to get Edward, my old man on the street. He's not old, though. Actually, he's young. But, things we were doing back in the earlier days here on the Peter G Show, I'm going to try to get him on camera and talk to him. He's a loose cannon. He told me he's going to commit, and I finally tracked him down. But I really want to start utilizing him more on the show, but it's like trying to herd a cat. That's all I can say. Not easy. But anyway, hoping to get him on. If he doesn't flake on me, I'm hoping to get him on the show as well, and that'll be interesting, I think. Again, loose cannon. He's either normal, or just flying off the shelf and just trying to. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Anything else I want to tell you about? Again, people, please, if you like what we're doing, subscribe to the Peter G Show YouTube channel. It's important. Facebook's okay. I started on Facebook. I truly believe in all you Facebookers. I do. But I want everybody to start. I never used to really utilize YouTube too much, but now I'm starting to push it because there's a little more stability, and plus when I'm starting to bounce off and going into different streaming network areas, it seems to be more of a place where you can easily pull the show up a lot easier than Facebook. Although again, I love my Facebook people. I do. I want all my Facebook people to get over to the YouTube channel just to play it safe. I know most of you won't because it's like, why should I? You're right here, Peter. One day you could go, where the hell did Peter go? And you'll wish you were there. So just go to YouTube, The Peter G Show, and just hit the subscribe button. Boom. It's not going to hurt you. You can still watch from Facebook, but it's good to know that I'm over there. It's like just having a little safety button. And what else? Finally, last but not least, if you have something that you feel you want to talk about, I want you to contact me on this show. If you have something you feel worthy of talking about, I want you to contact us here on the show. And if you have something of worth, I want to put you on the show. Okay? Simple. And I didn't do it, but info@thepetergshow.com. Info@thepetergshow.com. and just write to us, or the instant messengers on the Peter G Show. Somebody will look at it. Emails, YouTube, comments, whatever. If you have something worthy that you say, hey, you know what, Peter, I think this is important. I really want to talk about it. And you got the guts to come on and you say, because this is worth it, because somebody needs to hear this. Just say, hey, I want to come on your show. If it's worthy, we'll put you on the show. It's real simple. I think there's plenty of things that people need to hear that don't get heard. Now, I can't think of everything. You know what I mean? I know I talk a lot about surviving divorce and single parenting because I feel it's very important for the children involved to have your act together. And that's a very big thing. But today we talked about mental health. Last week with Vera, we talked about, again, family mediation and things like that. Some weeks we talk about total nonsense, but you got to smile. We got to laugh. I like nonsense. Speaking of nonsense, hopefully Pepsi's birthday's coming up. I'm hoping to get him on the show in a couple of weeks. I will not disappoint if he comes on the show. Believe me, I already got plans for him. Other than that, we're good. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. Love you guys, and thank you for tuning in. Again, subscribe. And catch the shows during the week. Share. I feel like a broken record, but I know I have to say this kind of stuff. So I'll see you guys. I know it was Oscar night, but catch these shows during the week. Get them on demand. You can go to YouTube, pull up anything you want to pull up. There's so many shows. God, we must be over 300 shows now. It's important to me, and I hope it's important to you. And I'll tell you what really is important to me. I love you guys very much for taking the time. I know you don't. Life's full of choices. You don't have to be here, but you are, and I love you for it. So, for what it's worth, my name is Peter G. You're watching Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show live. And if you're not watching it live, at least you're watching it. So, as always, I'll check you next week when we talk about all the things I told you we're going to talk about. All right? Love you guys. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorce dad, single dad, divorce dad, single dad, Peter G Show.